I need to lift some 300-pound stones. My original plan was to use something like these log tongs to try to pick those things up. But as you can imagine, these little sharp points here don't work too well with rock. I could pick them up, but it was not a sure thing. So I have moved on to another idea, which looks like this. Ignore this piece, ignore this piece. Those are there just to get things raised up to the right level. So what I'm going to do is weld these two pieces together right here. So I've got a big L-shaped leg here that will pick up one side of the stone. When I hook a chain hoist onto this ring and lift up, this part will move in and press against the stone. Over here on the other end, I've got this little piece stuck in there for right now. I'm going to have to weld something longer onto that, but this is the right thickness to match this piece. So I'm going to go with this here and probably put something a little bit lighter, weld something a little bit lighter out here, which will be at least a foot long. Probably going to cut this one off at about the foot, a foot from this point, because that's about the thickness of the rocks that I've got to pick up. And then I'll have to rig up some way down on the end of this to have multiple points of contact with the rock so that it doesn't twist in here, as was the case with the log tongs. So, got a little bit of welding to do here. Cut this off at about the mark that you see right there, and weld this together. I'll just put a pin through here. I'll have to weld something onto the bottom edge of this. I'm thinking about just doing a plate on either side to keep this from going backwards when the rock gets picked up. But the nice thing about using this Unistrut is with all the holes I've got there, I'll have plenty of adjustments, assuming this is going to be strong enough. Once I weld some little narrow cross pieces, I may just use some rebar on that to connect those. I may put a small plate out here on the end where it's not critical, but I do want to maintain all these adjustments. So I'm hopeful that this will work, because I've seen examples of this type of mechanism online, and it seemed to work, but they wanted like $1,000 for something like this. So I think a little bit of welding and cutting is not too much to ask to save $1,000, because I've got $10 in this and about $6 in this and $10 in that. So I'm probably going to do it for less than $50 with everything included. So we'll see what happens. I'll have a follow-up on this to let you know whether or not it's going to pick up the rocks.